Have you ever sat in a quiet room and felt the weight of your own loneliness? Clara knew this feeling well. Once full of dreams, she was left isolated after a betrayal shattered her trust and her life, leaving her alone in her apartment, haunted by silence and regret. This was her rock bottom, a place of quiet despair where she felt invisible and her story seemed to end before it began. Rock bottom isn't always a dramatic crash. For Clara, it was a slow descent, each day heavier than the last. Debt and loneliness pressed on her, her world shrinking to the hum of her refrigerator and the ache of comparison. She watched others move forward while she felt stuck, her passions gathering dust. One night, staring at her reflection, a quiet voice inside whispered, "I cannot live like this anymore." In that moment, she found a flicker of resolve, no grand plan, just a decision to fight for herself. The next morning, Clara honored her promise to herself by simply getting out of bed, a small but powerful act that marked the beginning of change. The world outside was still quiet, the sky tinged with the faintest blush of dawn, but inside, something had shifted. For the first time in a long while, she chose to move forward, even if it was just one step. She began to craft a gentle morning ritual. Sitting at her kitchen table, she poured her thoughts onto paper, journaling her pain and confusion, letting her feelings spill out in ink. She braved cold showers, feeling the shock of water anchor her to the present moment, and she read about resilience, searching for stories of hope and strength that might light her own path. The journal became a safe space for honesty, a private sanctuary where she could admit her fears and dreams without judgment. Each word she wrote was a small act of courage, a way to process the tangled emotions she carried. The cold water, though uncomfortable, forced her into the present, washing away the heaviness of yesterday and sharpening her senses. It was a daily reminder that she could endure discomfort and still emerge stronger. The books she read offered hope and perspective, their pages filled with wisdom from others who had walked through darkness and found their way back to the light. Each story was a gentle nudge, reminding her that healing was possible. Each act, no matter how small, was a step toward reclaiming herself. Tying her shoelaces, taking a deep breath at sunrise, these moments became quiet victories, proof that she was capable of showing up for her own life. Her apartment, once a prison of memories and regret, slowly transformed into a sanctuary for healing. As sunlight filled the rooms, she began to see her space and herself with new eyes. These small habits didn't erase her problems, but they gave her a sense of control and purpose. Making her bed, organizing her desk, each task was a declaration that she mattered, that her life was worth tending to. She was learning, slowly and patiently, to show up for herself, one morning at a time. With each sunrise, Clara discovered a little more strength, a little more hope, and the quiet promise that healing was possible. The first days were hard, but Clara persisted. Each morning she woke up before the sun, her body heavy with exhaustion and her mind clouded by doubt. Yet beneath the fatigue, a quiet determination began to take root. She reminded herself that change was never easy, and that every journey worth taking started with a single, sometimes shaky, step forward. Even when her motivation faltered, she chose to show up for herself, again and again. Gradually, her mornings became a source of strength. The act of journaling, once a space for her pain, slowly transformed into a canvas for her hopes and dreams. She wrote about her fears, but also about the small victories, a good cup of coffee, a moment of peace, a gentle sunrise. With each entry, her resilience grew, and she began to see possibility where there had only been struggle. The rituals she created, stretching, breathing, writing, became anchors in her day. She picked up her paintbrushes again, not to create a masterpiece, but to bring color back into her world. The act of painting was a quiet rebellion against the grayness that had settled in her life. Each stroke was a reminder that beauty could be found in the process, not just the outcome. She allowed herself to experiment, to make mistakes, and to find joy in the simple act of creating. Inspired to connect, she started a blog, sharing her journey with raw honesty. She wrote about her setbacks and her progress, her doubts and her hopes. The words resonated with others who were also searching for meaning and healing. Through her writing, Clara discovered a new sense of purpose. Her vulnerability became her strength, and her story became a lifeline for those who needed to know they weren't alone. Others found comfort in her words, and she formed a support group for those facing setbacks. In the warmth of shared stories and gentle encouragement, Clara realized that healing was not a solitary path. Together, they celebrated progress and held space for setbacks, building a community rooted in empathy and hope. Clara's problems didn't vanish, but her relationship with them changed. She learned to face her challenges with compassion, to accept her imperfections, and to see growth in every struggle. The reflection she saw in the mirror was no longer defined by pain, but by the courage to keep moving forward. The small, consistent steps became the foundation of a new, more resilient self. With each day, Clara built a life shaped not by what she had lost, but by what she was learning to create, one mindful moment, one brave choice at a time. Clara's story isn't a fairy tale. It's proof of the power in showing up for yourself, even when it feels impossible. She didn't wake up one morning with all the answers or a sudden burst of courage. Instead, she faced each day with quiet determination, piecing herself together bit by bit. There were days when the weight of her pain felt unbearable, but she kept moving forward, even if it was just a single step. Her journey was not about perfection, but about persistence, about choosing to try again, no matter how many times she stumbled. Her pain became the ground for her strength, her struggle a source of connection. Through her vulnerability, she found others who understood, who offered a hand or a listening ear. She learned that healing doesn't happen in isolation. It grows in the warmth of shared stories and gentle support. Every tear, every moment of doubt became a thread that wove her closer to those around her, reminding her that she was never truly alone. If you're sitting in your own quiet room, feeling lost, know this: you are not broken beyond repair. The silence you feel is not emptiness, but a space where hope can quietly grow. Even in your loneliest moments, you are worthy of care and compassion. The ache in your heart is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your capacity to feel deeply and to heal. This moment is not your end, but your beginning. Like the first rays of sunlight after a long night, hope can return in the smallest ways. Every sunrise is a reminder that you have another chance to start again, to choose yourself, and to believe in the possibility of change. The path forward is just one small step. Text a friend, take a walk, write one true sentence. You don't have to have it all figured out. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply reach out or move your body or put your feelings into words. Each small act is a victory, a sign that you are choosing to care for yourself even in uncertainty. Choose one act of self-care today. That is enough. Whether it's making a cup of tea, taking a deep breath, or simply allowing yourself to rest, these moments matter. They are the building blocks of healing, gentle reminders that you are deserving of kindness, especially from yourself. One day you'll look back with reverence for the strength you found. You'll see how far you've come, not because the journey was easy, but because you kept going. The scars you carry will become symbols of your resilience, and the hope you once doubted will shine brighter than you ever imagined. Your story matters. It's just beginning. No matter where you are right now, remember that you are not alone, and your journey is worth every step. The world needs your light, your voice, and your hope.